That's sweet. Hey guys, it is Terry back with Nashville Fit Magazine, and I am very excited to be sitting next to this guy, Scott Hamilton. Scott.
I must be probably the oldest guy you've talked to recently.
Well,
come on, be honest.
That's not true, but I don't know how old you are. I don't think you want to break that story.
I just qualified for Medicare.
Okay, so yeah, maybe.
See that?
But maybe not. I would say probably the most talented.
Oh, you see, you're kind. I don't even know if I was fishing for that, but that works.
Well, I'll put it out there. Listen, growing up, I was forced to watch figure skating.
I know, and I tried to make it great for the guys.
When you backflipped, I was in.
Well, thank you. And that was strategic because, when I go to the shows and I peek through the curtain, I go, a lot of women in the audience today, and then I'd see the men and they'd be sitting there going, how long is this going to go? And then I go, if I can get those guys on their feet, I might be able to skate for as long as I want. And it kind of worked out that way. I just try to figure out a way to invite everybody to the party. I knew, women are such dedicated skating fans that, they're going to really embrace everything.
Yeah.
But the guys are a little bit more picky, right?
Sure.
So if I could come up with stuff like material that would really incite a reaction, then I'd probably be okay for a while. And what's really wild, I'll be at B&A, right? Flying out, and the guy will come up to me and he'll say, "Are you the skater guy?" And I go, yeah. Nice to meet you. And he goes, "I don't watch that stuff at all. I'm totally a football, baseball guy. But my wife loves the skating.
Yeah.
Can I get her to introduce you?" I go, "Of course." So he'll go and he'll get his wife, and he'll go, "Honey, look who's here." And she'll go,
"No way."
Yeah. And I go, "Win."
That's awesome, actually.
No? So yeah, it works. It works.
Does work.
It works.
Well done.
So, but it's that's the whole idea of entertainment is being strategic and being thoughtful
100%.
And trying to figure out what's going to incite a reaction, what's going to really be broad in its appeal and memorable.
Yeah.
And so in everything we do, even up to today, that's a really big part of our planning and a big part of our success.
So, and one more thing on the backflip, and then we're going to move on.
Yeah.
How did you were you in skates? Were you on rollerblades? Were you on a trampoline? How did you get good at this?
Well, there were other guys
sketchy.
doing it. I got a lot of credit, I was the first guy to do it, but there was
as
other
far as
guys
I'm
doing
concerned.
it. Yeah, okay. Well, that's good. It's called marketing. But it's momentum.
Yeah.
And if you stop momentum for just a second, the force has to go somewhere, right?
That's true.
This is science class, by the way. So if I'm skating backwards on my left foot, pretty good speed, and I put my right toe in the ice, it's going to stop. It's like a pole vault, right? And it's going to shoot me straight up. But if I shoot up a little backwards and then roll my pelvis, it's going to go over into a flip. It's very simple.
And then landing it is just easy after that.
Well, yeah, landing is the desired, kind of result.
That's the hope.
Of everything.
Yeah, that's the hope.
And I've landed on my head a couple times. I landed on my back a few times. It's just, you can't bail out. It's just up and over, up and over, up and over. But if you get up and you get confused on the way up, your body just freezes. And then it's like, oh, this is going to hurt really bad. And I had a couple of those. But generally, I backflipped for 19 years, 20, including a year I came back to skating at 51. I decided to go back and see if I could do it again, just for kind of a healthy midlife crisis. And I was able to get backflip back for that. And that was really fun.
That's impressive.
51-year-old backflip, it's like...
kids, do the kids think it's cool? I know your kids are older now.
My kids, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think, they don't care about what I've done. They care about what I do.
Sure.
Right? So if we're out and about and I'm giving all my attention to them and I'm really pouring into them and everything and I get recognized, they like it.
Yeah.
But if I'm only paying attention to people recognize me and I'm ignoring them, then they don't like it.
That's fair.
So it's an intrusion then, right? But so I really try to be present, and sometimes I'm reminded that I'm not. And I'm humble enough to take that correction, for my children. But, it's a go, with all the different things that I do in the community and all the different things that I do to try to keep the lights on. It's pretty busy, And my age, I never thought I'd still be this active.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you pull your family into anything that you're doing with skating and anything like that, or the business side?
My son, honestly, told my executive director, Carrie Morgan, for the CARES Foundation, that when I'm no longer able to do it, he wants to step in.
That's awesome.
That made her cry. I mean, she just like, and he's such a outgoing, fun guy. It's my oldest two sons, Jean Paul and Aiden. Jean Paul's in the workplace. He's trying to build his life, and Aiden is training to fight UFC, the whole different kind of personality sets there. And then Eveline, my daughter, really wants to get into really build her life in college and try to find a really great identity, whether it be in law or political science or education, whatever that is. And then my youngest just sort of was a miracle. And the stuff that he's doing now is we never saw that coming. Yeah. So he's doing a lot of vlogging, he has a podcast at 15. He's building content like crazy and putting it up on social media.
Does he need a job? Because
I think he wants to be self-employed. But yeah, you know what? In the meantime, I'll give you all of his everything. So
there we go.
Yeah, it's kind of like all four of them have unique identities.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to see how they all kind of know that I had this other identity, but generally it's not in their face. It's not all over the house. It's not nostalgia. I always say is expensive. It always costs you something to be nostalgic, and I just want them to just have a dad.
I mean, it says a lot about what you do if your kids want to be involved. I think that's awesome. Can you tell, maybe people are watching this and they don't know what the CARES Foundation does? Can you go into that a little bit?
So CARES started my own cancer journey. My mom was diagnosed with cancer, and she lived with it for 2 years. She had a mastectomy. Most of the inside of her left arm was taken out. She did massive chemo. They didn't really have a treatment for her. So she lost her battle to cancer when I was 18 years old, and I became a fundraiser, figuring that's the best I can do. And then it was just 2 months shy of the 20 years of losing her, I'm diagnosed with cancer. And I go through my journey, and I'm just saying, this isn't. I mean, there were 2 guys in Indiana, research scientists, that figured out how to treat my cancer. So I had a definite protocol of 4 months of high-level chemotherapy, and then a 38 staple surgery, and then I was thrown back into the general population.
Wow.
So it was different, right? But I paid attention, and there wasn't a lot of. I was flying blind on the chemo a little bit. I didn't really know how to deal with a lot of that, and my nurse couldn't tell me, doctor couldn't tell me, friends and family couldn't tell me. And so I said note to self, and then I looked up. On Dr. Google, because everybody goes to Dr. Google, right? I tried to look up and figure out what my condition was and what I could do to help myself. And all I found was medical journal papers with 12-syllable words. So I said, note to self. So when I survived, I wanted to get back to the Cleveland Clinic for treating me. So we started the CARES initiative then. CARES was part of the patient services for the Taussig Cancer Center at the Cleveland Clinic. And it was remarkable that, when I spoke to my doctor, how sick am I to get with chemo? It was moderate to severe. Okay. So when we're announcing CARES, I said to my urologist, I said, what do you think of fourth angel? And he said, what is it? And I go, well, your first angel is your friends and family. Your second angel is your oncology nurse. Your third angel is your oncologist, or you could mix the order up however you want. And then your fourth angel is missing, which is someone who's been there, done that can guide you, serve as a role model. And so we pair newly diagnosed patients with survivors. And right now they're pairing about 100 a month. Wow. And it's paired caregivers and pediatric caregivers. So that's really cool. And then on the Dr. Google side, we created a website. I was the organ grinder's monkey for 5 years to create enough funds to build it. And it's everything you need about chemotherapy, how it's administered. Every single drug is listed. Every single combination of drugs is listed. How they work, what they're designed to do, all in 8th grade English and Spanish.
Wow.
With links to the side effects, where you have a whole side effects section where you can now get ahead of the side effects or learn how to deal with them in 8th grade English and Spanish. And with Google Translate, any language in the world. So they're doing millions and millions and millions of hits on that website. And then it just now, we got to a size, and we're funding research throughout, but I got to a place where I said, I want to grow. And they said, well, I mean, you've gotten to be about as big as you can be here. I go, no, I want to make a greater impact in the cancer community. And I said, can I take the CARES brand private? And they said, absolutely. So we dedicated the foundation about 9 years ago. And, or almost, yeah, no, it was almost 10 years ago. And we decided that we're going to put a stake in the ground for the future of cancer research, which is immunotherapy only. So that's the only thing we fund is immunotherapy.
Wow. I didn't know that website side. That's amazing.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like people are craving information, and they need to know how to live day to day.
Yeah.
And without any instruction, I mean, you're flying blind, a lot of bad things can happen. You can want to quit. You can want to just throw up your hands and just succumb to whatever's going on. Or you can arm yourself with the information you need to go into it. But in the meantime, between my mom suffering and me surviving, because of research, I said, now we have to do nothing but research. So it's pretty cool. And it's very specific. We don't care. We're not just like throwing money at research scientists. We're very strategic and very only treat the cancer and spare the patient harm. That's all we care about. Because chemo, like if you touch it with your fingers are going to melt off. And and yet they're pouring bags of stuff into your body to cure the cancer. It's like, we can do better. A lot of people don't know. Here's a trivia question. How did George Washington die? It's a trivia question. It's a real trivia question.
I don't know.
Bloodletting. He had an infection, and in the day, back then, the best they could do was bloodlet to try to get the infection out of your body. That was the best they had.
And they bled out, obviously.
And he bled out. He bled to death.
Too much.
Yeah, so...
I had no idea.
But if we're only going to stay with the best we have now, like as the human race, we're like, it's not going to work out great. So we got to keep looking this way. So the future of cancer treatment options are an immune response to the cancer and targeted therapies. And, as on the radiation side, I love proton therapy because it's very precise. It's a difference between like a grenade and a sniper.
Sure. Yeah. It's amazing, by the way. You kind of blew my mind, and I don't want to.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw into science class.
Yeah, I don't want to go. I don't want to fly over it. I don't want to fly over it because there's so much good stuff there, and we've been this whole month. October. We've been teaming up with Rashed from Real Men Wear Pink, which I believe you know who he is, and just I've been learning a ton from him too, and trying to catch up and be supportive and use the magazine for this front. So this is just really cool to kind of. This is the kind of icing on the cake to kind of learn what y'all are doing too. So we are here at the Bridgestone Arena for an upper conference room in the hideaway behind the third closet. Now we are here because you are about to put on. Speaking of fundraising,
it's our signature event. We do a lot of events to raise money all over the country, but this one's our signature event. It's Scott Hamilton and Friends, and what we do, we're the only ones in the world doing this. Yeah, where we gather a bunch of iconic musicians with their great, very familiar songs, and they all donate their time. And we have Six Wires, our house band, and they're phenomenal. So they play for all these. It's like Trace Adkins and Jody Messina and Dina Carter and Steve Warner, and then the front men, which is Richard McDonald, Larry Kutcher. They're amazing. But every song, it's like I wasn't a country fan in the 90s, but I knew every one of these songs because that's the decade that country music crossed over into popular. Right. So we've got all these really great songs and the artists that perform them. And then in front of that, we turn Bridgestone Arena into a theater, basically. We take out the glass, we cover the boards, and we put seats all the way down onto the ice. So it's just clean, right? Your ice people, the stage is this high off the ice for the musical artists. So it's a very inclusive environment. And we have Olympic champion skaters coming to perform to that music while it's happening live, and it's live. And it's really cool because it's a sensory overload experience. You're watching this explosive skating and these guys are doing things that are impossible. And these women and these pair teams, these dance teams, they're spectacular athletes and artists and entertainers. And the combination of the two mediums it blows your mind. So we have people coming in from Japan to see the show. We have people coming in from all over the place. And so our goal is to bring in as many people as possible because cancer touches everyone.
Yeah.
And just create a destination where people can invest in hope and really invest in what we're doing, and which is, we're a very collaborative, very interactive. We're not a silo. I hate silos. We're very interactive. We're very, very inclusive. We leverage other relationships to save money on the foundation side. I've been a volunteer since day one. I'll never take a penny for anything that I do ever. That's very important, especially in this day and age. But what we do is we produce this show, and then we do it for our sponsors. We do a celebration dinner afterwards at the Omni, and it's beyond description.
Really,
it's such a cool event, and so this is year 7 in Nashville. This is the 28th one I've produced.
Wow!
And so I've gotten to work with all my heroes in the music industry. It's just like I'm just fanboying everywhere.
Yeah. So wait, hold on. So Scott Hamilton gets starstruck. Is what you're saying?
Totally, honestly,
really?
honestly, we had. I asked Jonathan Cain to come in a few years ago and do some Journey songs, and he's bringing in their newest band member, and Jason Urlatka, who sings like Steve Perry and plays keyboards like Mozart. He's amazing.
He's insane.
And so I got a call about 5 days before the show when we got everything done. And whenever I get a call from an artist, yeah, exactly. It's like,
I've got those calls. I'm like, please no.
I have to answer this. So I go, hello. Hey, Scott, Jonathan. I go, hey, is everything okay? He goes, yeah. I'm like, oh, here it comes.
It doesn't sound like it is.
He goes, listen, I was talking to Neil about your event, and I'm like, oh, I hope Neil didn't tell him not to come. And Neil wants to perform in it too, Neil Sean. And I'm like, okay. Okay.
Well, you can make that happen.
So on the night.
Don't get too excited.
No, I mean, you think about that guitar, like I think at the beginning of Don't Stop Believing, that. So I'm standing on stage, right? And they start that thing, and Neil turns and looks right at me and leans in and plays that while looking at me, and it's like, Lord, take me now. Because it doesn't get any better than this. And it's that. I mean, it's like, my that's friendship awesome. With Bart Miller to Mercy Me and what that's meant, and then having all these amazing Nashville-based artists and all these other, Tommy Shaw on the rock side has done the show several times. Steve Cropper has done the show several times. We've had like everybody from Florida Georgia Line to Darius Rucker to, oh my goodness, Chris Young and Brothers Osborne. Sheryl Crow and I did the show together for the first 3 years. And it's just it's like, are you kidding me? This is insane. This is like,
you did this.
No, but it's like, these are my, music was my best friend when I was training because you train in isolation, right? So it was just something that kept me company, something that kept me motivated. And then to hear those songs being played by the artists that created them at a show we're putting together to raise money for cancer to save lives so no other 18-year-old kid has to say goodbye to his mom. It's like, wow, this is, thank you, Lord. It's unbelievable.
Full circle, man.
But it's in the skaters, it's like Nathan Chen, who's the reigning Olympic champion, might be probably the most gifted athletic skater in the history of the sport. He won the Olympics by a landslide, right? Just incredible, incredible guy. I saw him last April at an event we do every year for figure skating in Harlem. And he goes, I really want to do your show.
That's awesome.
And I was like, okay. It's like, okay, I'll just play it off. Like, yeah, okay. Because I don't want to blow it, right?
Yeah.
So we reached out to him, and he's at Yale, right, taking midterms. And he goes, I'll be there.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, he's skating to a really cool song. And, it's really fun to bring all my skating friends, and skating's a very tiny community, to be a part of this. And they never get to skate to live music. I would say rarely, if ever. Yeah. But our show, from the very first note of music to the last thing you hear, is all live music, and it's skating, and it's big, and I'm not pretty enough to be a skater anymore. I mean, these skaters are like incredible artists, and they're just beautiful to watch, and it's just like, thank you. I'm so grateful. But, it's a great way of people gathering, bringing people together, especially that have been impacted by cancer, to experience hope. Like, that's it.
Exactly.
It's a very much, we're doing this because we want to change the world forever and for the better. and the only way to do it is together. So that's kind of the vibe, and we've had really cool co-hosts over the years, and it's been really fun to have Christy Yamaguchi and Peggy Fleming came in one year, and Matt Eisman came in last year.
I remember all of these names.
Yeah, Matt Eisman's coming back again this year, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just making friends, and honestly, people that have been impacted by cancer, it's a really tough thing because our bodies betray they betray us, right? And it's like, no, and whether it be genetic or environment or whatever, it's like our bodies created this, and we need to figure out ways of showing our bodies that it doesn't belong, teaching our bodies how to get rid of it, and then we can live our full lives. Because, one thing I've learned is we're very susceptible to countless things, right? You're in the fitness world, right? So you know that fitness is key. 100%. Fitness, diet, key to a long and healthy life, right? So our bodies are susceptible. They're also resilient. They're ultimately temporary. So how do we put more sand in the hourglass? And that's what we do. We're just buying time. We just really want everybody to live a full life. And if those two guys, those research scientists in Indiana, didn't figure out how to treat my cancer, I wouldn't have been a father. I wouldn't have been a husband. I wouldn't be a father, and I wouldn't be able to do the work I'm doing now to elevate what they've accomplished and try to save more lives forever. Once you figure something out, it's done. It's figured out forever. You can make it better. But like my mom's, her cancer didn't have a treatment until an immunotherapy came out a few years ago. And it's like, I lost her 46 years ago. Wow. And they're just now coming up with things that would treat her. And she suffered. So all of that is in an infinite loop, echo chamber in my brain of watching her, and I'm still here. Let's get this thing done.
Yeah. Dude, my heart's full now.
There you go.
It's crazy.
Let's go run a marathon.
Let's do it. It's not that full.
My knees like, it's like enough.
Oh my gosh. As much as I want to keep deep diving, I really do want to do a whole other interview and just go down the rabbit hole. But for the sake of everyone watching, can you tell everyone how they can get involved, when the event is?
That's November 19th. It's the Sunday before Thanksgiving. The show starts at 5 o'clock. We've got plenty of seats available. Unfortunately, we have plenty of seats available. But
fix that. You're watching this, go fix that.
But Nashville's kind of one of those last-minute towns.
Oh, they for sure are.
Yeah. So I expect that to change. But the closer you are to the ice, the more you get to feel the energy and the impact of these skaters. And the music's great. And the whole event's great. If you want to sponsor, you can go to scottcares.org and connect with Carrie Morgan, my executive director. And we still would love to have more people coming to the dinner and experiencing that. And that's really fun because the adrenaline spillover from the event to the dinner is really, you can feel it. It's cool. It's awesome. And so November 19th, Bridgestone Arena, 5 p.m. And then the celebration dinner for sponsors is right afterwards, starts at 7:30. And it's the event. For me, it's the event. I like a lot of great charity events in Nashville, and I'm not going to diminish any of them. I like ours because it's so unique, and it's the only one in the world. We're the only people doing this, and it's a great event. And if you can't make it and you want to get involved, scottcares.org and make a donation. We have a 1984 campaign. 1984 was the year I was stood on a podium. And that was the year that I was given permission to turn that into a platform. So 1984, you can sign up, donate $19.84 a month, if you can afford to do that. And in that, we're able to reach our goals and then some. We have 14 partnerships going on this year. 14, and we're taking on big, bad, nasty bullies like glioblastoma, multiform brain cancer, and we've got a mountain of things in the pipeline that we're working on, and it's just extraordinary that CARES has grown to be in this position where we can be so impactful. But it's events like that, and if you can't be at the event, please join us, scottcares.org.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. I hope you all feel motivated and you want to jump in. All the information that Scott just shared will be below this video. So please check it out. Come check out the fundraiser. Scott, I really appreciate your time today.
Oh, my pleasure. And I want to say Bridgestone Arena is the best arena to work with. David Kell, Sean Henry, and his team they've been over backwards to make sure that we have everything we need and that we're successful in this endeavor. And I'm really grateful to them and to all of our sponsors.
This is really cool. All right, guys, you know what to do. Hit those links below, and we'll see you at the show.